leveraging the frenzy around Bitcoin
really?
and blockchain, because there's nothing different between what he's doing and just starting a fund like we did, which is an LLC, where you get LLC shares for contributing assets.
Huh.
So instead of contributing cash and we make loans, they're contributing a piece of the equity in their home to this fund that's going to increase in value. But they even said you have to read through 4 pages of FAQs to get to the bottom going, what kind of liquidity can I expect with my tokens? And how would I monetize my investment? Our goal is to enable token holders to enjoy liquidity.
How?
However, although we anticipate there will be a marketplace in the future where you will be able to buy and sell our investment tokens, note that no marketplace for tokenized securities currently exists. Aside from token holders selling their tokens, we will gain liquidity through homeowner refinancing or selling their homes.
Okay, blame him. It's all his fault.
Yeah.
He's the one who got the guy.
So it's actually the answer is mumbo jumbo. There really is no liquidity. There is no coin or token. It's crap. It's a total scheme.
We're live. Say hi to the camera.
Hey, by the way, I can print that on paper. So the best of investing little piece of paper that you hold.
Oh yeah. I don't even know how accurate that is. I got to figure out literally how to do a real. You know how like when you watch a show and they have captions, and then as well as the high def, not high def, but the stereo.
Right.
And I don't know how to do that, so I'm doing the best I can with this. And then.
So do you have an intro for this gentleman?
Just to say that Matthew Sullivan, CEO of Quantum RE. What is Quantum RE? Right? I mean,
why don't you do a little bit more of an intro today we're going to talk about someone who is matching the current frenzy in blockchain with real estate.
Can I hand it over to you?
A company called Quantum RE.
I'll say, how about I do this? I'll say, Mark, why don't you introduce our guest?
Okay.
All right,
What's his name again?
Let's go. Matthew Sullivan.
Matthew Sullivan.
Sounds
He said he was going to be on a cell phone, but he said it should be good.
Good reception.
You have to scoot in to get in the camera.
Oh yeah. Hey, what are the times?
6:40, 8:28, 8:40, 9:17, and 5:10.
Thank you, sir.
Can I write down the right number?
Hello, thank you for calling Matthew Sullivan. I'm sorry I'm not here to take the call personally, but please leave a message after the tone, and I'll come back to you as soon as I can.
Hey, Matthew, it is Edward Brown, and we're going to call you back in a little bit. It's 2:56 now. We're going to go ahead and record our first segment, and so we'll be back to you in probably about 10 minutes or less. All right, stay by. Stay tuned. All right, so let's go ahead and just do our first 6 minutes. We don't need him for that. What's that? Okie dokie. All right. Do this. Okay. How do you want to start off?
I don't know.
Let's see. And we just did a presentation at Momo's and had 10,000 people there.
Yeah, there you go.
And a capacity of only 50 people could show up. It was 2 miles deep worth of people.
I'm going to need like a double Red Bull vodka when I get there or something.
How about a Go Girl?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's
give me a Go-Go Girl.
Go Girl. Hold on. Tastes good, and it'll give you some energy.
And it's pink.
And it's pink. That's right. Oh, look at that. Where's the socks
I
just to
missed
match it?
Oh, sweet.
Socks from Socksy.com.
That's cute.
It is. I actually recommend it. And for Daddy's Day, I got a whole bunch. I got half a dozen new socks from Socksy.com, which I told my wife to go to buy me cool looking, colorful socks.
That's awesome.
And they're comfortable? Okay.
That's the thing, because I've got like fancy socks that aren't comfortable, but these ones are all like fuzzy.
Fuzzy and
Yeah, they're
Doesn't that taste good?
really cozy. That does. That'll work.
Hey, for the deal of, or
Yeah.
for a deal type, did you see Kevin's email about how he got a couple of bridge loans, seconds from Wells, 30 to 60-day loans?
I didn't see it.
Oh, I don't think he sent it to you. He sent it to Mark, Rick, and I. Is that worth mentioning? Some don't have a deal of the week yet.
Well, let's keep thinking. I've got Rick wanted me to do a funeral home second. He just texted me.
Please.
So how many minutes on the first one?
6 minutes and 40 seconds.
6:40. All right, let's do the first one.
Okay.
See what happens.
And, and Nam, what we're going to do is pay attention to him as he drinks his Go Girl, see if he gets his energy up. Okay. Do you want to start off?
Yep.
With something good?
Yep.
Okay. Ready? Here we go. Go. Welcome. You're listening to The Best of Investing. I'm your host, Edward Brown, along with my co-host, Mark Hanf of Pacific Private Money and Nam Phan of Pacific Private Money. Our phone number is 888-912-1190. Use that number to answer the trivia questions for a 5-pack tanning certificate given away during this show. And the certificate's not sponsored by the radio station, but by Tan Bella Tanning Salon, with 2 locations in San Francisco and 1 in Marin. I understand they were voted best in Marin. That's awesome. Today's trivia theme is general trivia. Also want to make a mention as Mark is drinking his Go Girl energy drink. You will hear him with a lot of excitement today.
It's working.
It's working. I told you, it's really good. Go Girl. All right. What do you got for us, Mark?
Well, we've been doing our Pacific Private Money Fund Roadshow this year. We've been going to various places throughout the Bay Area to talk about our alternative investment opportunities, our 3 ways to invest: whole loans, fractional loans, and our managed funds. Our managed fund right now is up to $40 million. I know you guys have been talking about that in my absence the last couple of weeks. $40 million and growing, the Pacific Private Money Fund. And we just did our monthly distribution, and distributions are up to almost 8%. We're about 7.8 on a distributed yield. If you're a compounded investor, you're getting about 8%, which is all secured by real estate. And so we've been doing our road shows. In fact, we just did a show at Momo's in Walnut Creek. That was the second time we were there. Great little restaurant with a back room there, and had a dozen or more so people there raptly listening to our Edward and I's Dog and Pony show. There were laughs, there were tears.
Yeah. You know what the amazing thing is?
Standing ovations.
That's right,
Was it tears first and then laughter?
Yeah.
Or laughter then tears? I think it's better. If it's
You got to
tears
grab with a
first.
good story.
That's right.
Again, right?
Well, what the funny thing is every time we go on the road, do these shows, it's amazing how many people follow up with, you know what you guys talk about makes sense. How do I invest?
Yeah.
Well,
That's
we basically talk about why our industry exists. Why does the alternative finance lending market exist? Also known as why do private money lenders or hard money lenders, if you're going back 20 years, why do you guys exist when bank financing rates are still in the 4s? And the reason is speed, and oftentimes people just don't qualify for bank financing today.
Which brings me to a referral that I received this morning. A doctor makes very good income, high 6 figures, and she can't get a bank loan because her tax returns, first of all, she's self-employed, but she is very aggressive on her tax returns and writes off a lot of stuff. And I'm not
Which is not unusual.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, she has a choice. Do you want to pay a lot of taxes, or do you want your tax return to look so low that your bank kind of says, gee, we're not sure if you can afford to pay?
It is a double-edged sword
It
because I have an S corp and I go through the same kind of hand wringing every year. Am I aggressive about my write-offs? And I have friends with S corps who write off everything, and they show like paupers to the IRS. But they're, they got money, but what happens is you go to get your home refinanced, and your bank goes, well, you don't make any money.
Exactly. And we're not talking about cheating on your return. We're talking about being aggressive, which is fine. And the thing is, she said to you, maybe if I get a loan from Pacific Private Money, where she can still put down 30%, and it's a home in Marin. She hasn't identified it yet, but she's going to. Then, she'll refinance when she decides, okay, maybe I'll show a little bit more income and just cheat myself, basically, not write off as
Well,
much.
and that's really a good point, because most people, when they think of hard money or private money loans, they think of people with bad credit who can't get bank financing. And as a matter of fact, more than half the loans we make are to people who intend to get conventional financing, but they need more time. So we're here to provide quick, reliable access to capital that a home buyer or an investor can use to close quickly on a real estate transaction. And since our loans have no prepayment penalty,
Exactly.
yes, the rates are 9% and a couple of points is a typical loan program, but you can pay that back as quickly as you can through bank financing. And so what we know in the marketplace today, and if you've not tried to borrow money conventionally, you wouldn't know this, but the reality of it is it's a lot easier to get a refinance than it is to get a purchase money loan. Easier meaning you're not up with a purchase money loan, you're up against the time clock.
Yeah.
And
Right.
so and look, there are some great conventional loan brokers out there who can get you a loan in 21 days if you fit in all the boxes. But in the Bay Area, with the high self-employment rate and the fact that a lot of people switch jobs, which is also a big no-no when you're trying to get bank financing. Now, given time, like 60 to 90 days, so you buy the property, you're in it now, you own it. Now your mortgage broker can get you a conventional loan because he's got the time to get you through the process.
Yeah.
Maybe it's seasoning. Maybe
Right.
it's you need a few more months of job stability. Maybe you got to go park, $50,000 in an account and let it sit there for 3 months. So, there's all these little nuances that it takes to get the best bank financing rates right now. So we're a bridge financing specialist. We're a plan B when plan A, conventional financing, isn't a good route for you to purchase real estate. And we help a lot of Bay Area home buyers and real estate investors get the capital they need.
All right, we're going to cut to a break. We come back. We got some more good stuff to talk about. Okay, first commercial break. Whose profile is displayed on the Purple Heart medal? You ever seen a Purple Heart given out to a soldier?
Mm-hmm.
Whose profile is displayed on the Purple Heart medal? All right, call 888-912-1190 if you're the first caller with the correct answer. You're going to win that tanning certificate. And don't touch that dial. The best of investing. I'll be right back. All right. Okay.
We're going to try William or Matthew. Matthew Sullivan.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I almost forgot. He's sitting on the phone.
His company name again is
Quantum RE.
But without the U.
Yeah.
Quantum.
How did you find him?
I don't know how. I don't know.
I got a random Quantum RE.
Yeah, it wasn't me. It was. Was it you first?
Yeah, it was me.
Okay.
Okay, blame him then.
No.
I'm just kidding. All we care about is doing good radio.
Matthew, you're here to defend cryptocurrencies
Yeah.
and blockchain technology. Everyone on the show knows our opinion.
That's right. He's never heard our show, has he?
No.
He's in for it.
Foil.
You can hear him through the headphones.
Yes.
Right? Okay. Make sure this thing works. Hello.
Hello,
Hi.
how are you?
Good. This is Edward Brown. Is this Matthew?
It is indeed. Good
Yeah.
afternoon.
Good afternoon. Okay, so I've got you on the phone here also with Mark Hanf and Nam Phan of Pacific Private Money.
Hi there, Matthew.
Good afternoon.
Hey, Matthew.
So what we're going to do is I'm going to reintroduce the show. We have a trivia question to answer, and then I'm going to have Mark introduce.
How many minutes are we in this first
Okay.
segment?
This segment will be 8 minutes and seconds.
8:28, and we could go multiple segments, Matthew, if we get on a roll. And it does sound like you've got a very interesting business model here. I'm looking forward to hearing more about it, having read through printed out the 4 pages of FAQs from your website and read them. So I have a little bit of a idea of what you're doing, but I'm also as curious as the next guy about how you're marrying blockchain with real estate.
All right, you ready? Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, here we go. Well, welcome back to the Best of Investing. Again, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mark Hunt and Non-Fund Civic Private Money. First commercial break, trivia question. Whose profile is displayed on the Purple Heart medal?
No clue.
No, I thought I was banking on you to know the answer to that one. No, I don't know either.
George Bow Washington.
Oh,
George, yeah, if you look at a Purple Heart, it's George Washington. So, Mark, our guest is on the phone. Who is it?
So we're here today with Matthew Sullivan of Quantum RE. And he has a company that's looking to leverage the growing interest in blockchain and marrying it to real estate. And it's quite an exciting, new company. Matthew, tell us about Quantum RE.
Well, it's a pleasure to be on the show. So first of all,
Yeah, welcome. Yeah, welcome to the Best of Investing.
So go ahead.
Imagine if you were able to tap into some of the dead money in your home, locked up in the equity, but without having to go back to the bank on bended knee.
Okay, so let's say you own $1 million house and let's just make it simple. You don't owe anything on it and you're not interested in selling. So rather than going to the bank and saying, hey, bank, give me a $300,000 refinance, so basically a loan or a home equity line, what do you do?
What we do is we buy some of the equity in your home because there's value in that. So because it represents real estate that you own, typically what would happen, imagine that $1 million home, imagine if it's owned by someone who was unable to take out a loan.
Yeah.
So rather than saying that you've got the choice, imagine it's owned by a retired couple or a senior who didn't have any income, but has spent his entire working life paying down his mortgage, as everyone tells you you're supposed to do, only to find that he or she or they are sitting on an asset that's worth $1 million, but the only way out would be to sell the house, because if they went to a bank and said, we'd like to borrow some money, the bank would say, I'm really sorry, you just don't qualify.
Yes, and that happens.
And
a
that
lot.
happens every day. A lot of
Yeah.
clients call us as a result.
So what we do is a percentage of the value of their home. And it's a transaction where, like a purchase transaction, it's not a loan. So what we do is we say, let's first of all agree what the value of your home is. So we go through a normal appraisal process.
Mm-hmm.
And the transaction that we have with the owner of their home is they sign an agreement with us where when they sell the home, a percentage of the value of that home is owned by us. So and we can buy up to 30% of the value of the home. And what we will do is we will advance them the money for that purchase there and then. And they don't have to pay interest on it. They don't have to make any monthly payments. What happens is when they sell the house, that percentage of the value of the house is ours. So in other words, if we were to buy, say, $200,000 worth of equity in your $1 million house, when you sell the house, and that could be 30 years later, there's no pressure to sell the home. But when they sell the home, we get our $200,000 back. And in addition to that, if the house has gone up in value, we share in a percentage of the increase in value.
So let me ask you a question. First of all, is the $200,000 a taxable transaction to the owner of the house because he's selling a portion of the house?
Well, we've done over $250 million worth of these transactions over the last 8 years. This is, when I say we, that's the team that we have on board. So they're experienced. And in all of those transactions, the tax treatment was that the tax is not payable at the time of the transaction because it's an option and it's a transaction.
Gotcha. Okay, so it's a shared appreciation part. It's not an actual ownership of the house, so they're not selling a portion of the house. So that makes sense. And it's almost, for you guys, it's almost like a zero coupon bond because there's no payments made until the house is sold. Is that correct?
It is, and that's two-edged sword. So as far as the homeowner is concerned, it's a great deal because there's no coupon, there's no interest that needs to be paid. But as far as the investor is concerned, it's actually not a great deal because they have to wait potentially for decades, literally, for their assets to become liquid. And in the meantime, it doesn't provide any cash flow. So the reason that this asset class, and there's $7-8 trillion worth of equity that is owned by American homeowners right now. The reason that asset class is untapped is because it doesn't cash flow, and because it's not liquid. And so we've solved that problem by creating our platform, because by tokenizing that asset and creating a cryptocurrency that is backed by this pool of assets. If you buy that token, you get access to that pool of assets as if you were investing directly in the pool. But the token itself, because it's a securities cryptocurrency, you will be able to trade that far more efficiently than if it were a normal share. So that's the other part of what we're doing. We're releasing the equity that is locked up in people's homes. But the other thing that we're doing is we're enabling people to have a cryptocurrency that's backed by these.
Okay, so it sounds like you're taking an asset that's fairly illiquid, i.e. This zero coupon bond that may take 10, 20, 30 years, however long, and you're trying to make it so that people can trade and get in and out of it, is what I'm hearing.
Exactly.
Okay, and I'm assuming too that if the house is transferred to the kids, or any kind of transfer will trigger the need to pay this back, right? It's not just a sale of the house.
If it's a sale, yes, if it's a sale or transfer, exactly. So in other words, if there's a transfer of the asset where the title changes.
Yeah, from parents to kids or something. Okay, and then in a typical transaction, well, again, let's take this example: $100,000, or $1 million property. You guys are doing $200,000. Everyone agrees it's worth $1 million. What is your percentage increase in the property? How does that work? Is it just a straight 20%?
So first of all, we take the house value, which is $1 million, and the equity that we release, which is $200,000. So one, as a function of the other, 20% is the amount of the value of the house that we're releasing. We have a multiple that we apply to that, which is 2.5 times.
Oh.
So 2.5 times 20% is 50%.
Wow. Okay.
50% of the increase in value.
And I'm assuming also that you presume when you're doing this that most houses are going to turn over in 5 to 7 years. You're probably not going to have to hold it for 30 years, right?
Well, no. I think historically, in a fund where you would rely on the liquidity event of the underlying assets, that would be more important than it is with us.
Yeah, because you're creating this cryptocurrency. Hey, tell you what, Matthew, stay with us. We have to cut to another break. We want to continue on with you because this is kind of interesting stuff. All right, so here's our second trivia question. And Matthew, if you know the answer, don't say anything until we get back from break. We don't want to give the audience the answer yet. Okay, here's the trivia question. In pool, right, like billiards, pool, right? In pool, what color is the 6 ball? That's our trivia question. Call 888-912-1190. If you're the first caller with the correct answer, you're going to win that tanning certificate. What color is the 6 ball in pool? Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back. Okay. All right. So that's our second one. So it's kind of interesting. So man, the 2.5 times, that's, you put 200 grand in on $1 million property, and you guys get, in that example, 50% of the increase. But also, if it decreases, you get that too, right? Just what if the decrease? You don't get 2.5 times the decrease, though, do you?
No, we figured out that probably wasn't a very good idea.
Yeah. Well, no. I mean, listen, it is what it is. I mean, it's when we come back on air, we'll talk about that because it's kind of interesting.
Well, I also we should talk about the obvious. What is the homeowner actually getting? What are they receiving? How liquid is it? How can they spend that money? So really,
a check for 200 grand.
Yeah, they get dollars. I mean, we're not
right there.
What we're not doing is we're not confusing the homeowners sort of. Most of the homeowners don't understand crypto. We wouldn't expect them to understand blockchain. So their transaction is purely a dollar transaction. If they sell us an interest in their home, we send them a check.
Got it. So it's the
They're
investors, I
involved
guess,
in
in
the crypto
quantum.
side.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it's just the investors in your company they're the ones that are buying the
Fund.
tokens.
Exactly. But the other important point there is that you can see the token that we're creating as an investment. So it has one foot in the investment camp. It also, remember, it's a cryptocurrency token. And if you think of all the use cases for Bitcoin, where
I tell you what, hey, Matthew, hold on. Let's.
This is actually, we're getting into good stuff.
We're going to get
Yeah.
into good stuff. We want to record this. So,
Okay.
just stay with us. And I have to make one quick announcement before we go into it. So here we go. Welcome back to the Best of Investing. Edward Brown here, along with Mark Hahn and Nam Phan of Pacific Private Money. Second trivia question was, what color is the sixth ball? Anybody? No.
Red.
No.
Magenta?
No. Green.
All right.
You had all the colors of the spectrum
That's
there.
the 9. Oh, wait a second.
No,
It's flipped over.
the nine's a yellow. That's the yellow. Not the nine's a yellow ball. You guys don't play pool. All right. Want to make a quick mention here for the Renaissance Indian Wells Resort and Spa. It's a desert oasis for a family getaway in the Coachella Valley. It's the perfect place to recharge and relax poolside on our sandy beach area, or send the kids off for a day at fun at Camp Oasis. The world-class resort features a well-appointed guest rooms, 5 restaurants, rejuvenating spa, plus book the summer family vacation today, and kids eat free. Go to reindianwells.com for details, or call 760-773-4444. Mark, can you reintroduce our guest, please?
Right. We're speaking with Matthew Sullivan of Quantum RE, and we're just kind of getting into the meat of how his company will, like a bank, provide you capital and a portion of the equity in your home. But unlike a bank, it's not a loan. They're actually buying a portion of the equity in your home, paying you cash for it. But the other side of the coin, so to speak, with this company is that they're based on blockchain, and they're issuing tokens to, I guess, the investors who are providing the capital to Quantum RE to go out and buy equity in other people's homes. And Matthew, can you tell us a little bit about what your goal is with this tokenization program of Quantum RE?
of course, I think most people have heard of Bitcoin.
Yes. Nobody understands it, but they've heard of it.
And I think that's the real issue, is because it's not clear what makes Bitcoin, what gives Bitcoin the value that it has. So there are some people that will talk about the network effect, they'll talk about usage. But Bitcoin really, to most people, is impenetrable, because no one can really explain what the underlying value is. And so because of that, it's been slow to move into mass adoption.
Well, it's not really backed by anything.
Exactly, and and that's exactly it. You cannot really define what it's based on. Now, if you look at something like real estate, people go, yeah, well, everyone knows what real estate is.
Yeah.
It's land. They're not making it anymore. People understand what real estate is. The value of real estate is predictable. There's historical information. People can see it, touch it, feel it. It's physical. So what we're doing is we're marrying those two things together. We're taking all of the great things of cryptocurrency, which is the ability for it to move from person to person at the speed of light, for it to move cross borders, for it to move from one person to another person without all the settlement issues that you have with traditions.
So, hey, Matthew, let me interrupt you for a second, because I want to try to make this on a really nursery school level. Okay, so let's say I'm an investor and I am looking at this and going, boy, I sure would love to have been able to invest in these houses because they're going up in value, but I don't have millions of dollars. So I'll invest in something that is like this, Quantum RE, where you basically are a shared appreciation. So it's like, I'd like to get in on as real estate's going up. So I get to invest in it. However, I don't know if the person's going to sell the house in 30 years from now. So it sure would be nice to be able to sell my share, so to speak, at some point. And that's why you're creating the blockchain or cryptocurrency, so that you're kind of making a market for when people want to get out.
Exactly.
Okay.
So what we're doing is we're enabling people to buy and sell token that represents those assets and effectively is a mirror of those underlying assets.
Okay, so now getting into
In that sort of, yeah, exactly.
Okay, so rather than getting into the weeds of it per se, how, unless I were to do a whole bunch of due diligence on every single house, that every deal that's out there, how would I value what that token's worth?
Well, we do that for you. So one of the things that the blockchain provides is a layer of truth. And the greatest thing that the blockchain has brought to us is the ability to have a ledger or a record of transactions that you cannot undo, that you cannot change without everybody agreeing to those changes. So that layer of truth enables us to say, look, here are the assets that we have in our pool. Those assets will be audited by traditional auditors in the same way that a listed fund or a listed company will be audited. But as far as what the blockchain does is the blockchain in our system keeps a record of every single transaction. So we can prove without a shadow of a doubt, going back since the very beginning of the platform, every single transaction, everything you bought and sold, everything we bought and sold, is recorded there until time immemorial. So that means that we cannot change what has happened. And so that layer of truth, that layer of confidence that the blockchain brings, means that when we say that our token represents this pool of assets, you know, we can prove it, and we can prove it to anybody that wants to, because there are elements of what we're doing that are in the public domain.
Well, the thing is, unless you do, appraisals on an ongoing basis on every house that's in the portfolio, how would you know what the value of it is?
And again, that's the great thing about this particular asset class, because single-family owner-occupied residential houses in the US have an enormous amount of data written about them every day. You know, if you look at Case-Shiller, companies like CoreLogic, House Canary, all those companies provide information, you know, on a daily basis about the movement of houses. So the way that we operate is when we bring a house into the network, we do a standard appraisal, which means that we go out there, we send someone to the property, and we carry out standard appraisal, which means that we know what that house is worth based on
at that time,
in the local area at that time. So that's a definitive marker. And then every 3 months, we apply third-party valuation mechanisms by trusted entities, such as Case-Shiller and CoreLogic, to revalue our portfolio.
Now, the thing is, like, Case-Shiller won't do a specific house. I mean, they'll give a trend. You know, like as an example, Zillow, for good or bad, you can specifically say Zillow will give you what they believe a certain asset is, a certain house is worth at a specific time.
Exactly. But so what we're doing now is we're saying that we've got, and we're not using Case-Shiller, we're using other.
Okay. Fair enough.
But those companies give us more granular details, you know, like it gives us detail of houses in a particular area, but most importantly, it gives us information about how much they have increased since the day you know, we purchased. So what we're looking at is re-indexing the properties based on how much houses in that zip code or that area have increased over the last 2 years.
Okay.
It is a general.
Hey, Matthew, unfortunately, since we have to cut to our last commercial break on this, give us your information so we can give it out to the audience if people have questions for you.
Well, we have a website which is QuantumRE, that's spelled QUANTMRE.com, where you can go on and register and give us your email address, and we will keep you updated.
Great.
With the progress. So we're looking to launch this, you know, literally in the next few weeks. So
wow,
great. Okay, well, thank you so much, Matthew. Unfortunately, we got to cut you off now, but I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks for having me on.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
All right, guys, we'll have to ask the next trivia question on the next break. Don't touch that dial. Best of investing. I'll be right back. Okay. Yeah, we went way over on that one. Unfortunately, he doesn't know from a time. I mean, it's really interesting information. I mean, it's funny because, you know,
and they haven't launched yet, but they've been buying homes.
I mean,
it's tokenizing.
It's kind of just taking an illiquid asset i.e. this shared appreciation. Like if you did a one-off deal, that's not a bad way to go to get 2.5 times the increase and only 20% of the downside.
Right.
That's pretty good. The thing is, I can't force Mr. Jones to sell his house 2 years, 5 years, 20
Sure.
years from now. And in theory, if you had 1,000 of these, they'd be constantly going up and down. But how do I get out as an investor? Well, that's why it sounds like we're creating some kind of a market.
Right.
So it's kind of interesting.
Would have been good to ask him, if you're the borrower, if you're the homeowner, are you getting cash like we were talking about at the break? Because and also what's the minimum hold if I'm the homeowner? Like, what if I wanted to do rehab work before selling? It's going to improve the house.
Yeah,
so
there was the
50%.
other guy was talking about that because there are questions. You have to make sure the real estate taxes are paid. What if you want to improve the house? They were pretty good about not like you had to kind of tell them what you're doing, but they were for the most part kind of going, yeah, great, do anything you want for the most part, but not tear it down, right?
Yeah, if the market's flatter, you think it's going down, you want to borrow a couple $100,000 and sell it in house in a few months. What's the minimum hold? I don't know. Anyway, it's interesting.
There is a minimum hold on that other one. I think it was 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the thing is, if you transfer it to your kids, you have to get a brand new appraisal. Like they do 3 appraisals and you pick the middle one or something, right? Because if you just sell it third party, then that's what the sale is. All right. What do we want to get into? Let's do some deal of the week. I just want to keep stories.
Let's see. What deal of the week do we have? Do you have anything you're looking at right now?
Kevin sent me the one in San Clemente, but that didn't look so good.
A really ugly property that was near the water.
Yep. Yeah, didn't like that. I gave that the thumbs down on that.
About just the general kind of deals we're seeing in the market.
We're still seeing a lot of people coming in with huge down payments and just needing little gap financing.
Yeah, I want to wrap up a little bit on what, just give him a little bit, since we had to cut him off so quickly. Let me just
you want to
wrap up on Quant.
Okay, here we go. Right?
Okay.
Welcome back to the Best of Investing. One more time, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mark Hunt and Nam Phan. Unfortunately, we had to cut Matthew off a little early because we had to cut to the commercial break. But Mark,
I wanted to make sure that everyone knew what website to go through because it's really, really interesting. If we had a longer show, we would have been able to get really into more detail with him. But go to his website. It's Quant MRE, so QUANT. And the letter M from like Mary, RE, quantmre.com. And it's really interesting because we get a lot of calls from people who own homes in the Bay Area. They've got a first on it, but they've got tons of equity, and we were using $1 million example, and $1 million home, maybe you got a $200,000 first position loan, you got $800,000 worth of equity, you go to your bank, you ask for a line of credit, and they go, no. And it's just so much harder now to tap the equity in your home thanks to Dodd-Frank, or no thanks to Dodd-Frank, and all the new regulations, and if you're on fixed income. And we're, and even at Pacific Private Money, hard money / private money lenders, back in the day, which was, before Dodd-Frank 10 years ago, we could easily make a loan unconditionally to someone who had equity in their home. Well, we can't do that anymore. It's actually illegal to make a loan secured by an owner-occupied residence in junior position unless you can demonstrate through collecting their income information that they have the ability in the monthly income to service that interest payment. And a lot of people want to borrow money just to improve their home, and we have to say no. So if you're one of those people that has a lot of equity in your home and you're looking for ways to capitalize to turn some of that equity into money, you can sell a portion of the equity in your home and ownership interest to Quant MRE, and they will pay you cash. And,
right.
And they so the whole blockchain and tokenization part of it, if you're a homeowner and you're looking for cash, you don't have to care about any of that stuff. The blockchain part of it is really only of interest for those who are participating in alternative investment strategies and want to reach out to them as possibly for more information about, how you can invest in their tokens, in their particular coin. So they're creating a coin that is intended to appreciate over time based on the appreciation of the underlying real estate, fractional real estate interests that they're purchasing.
I wonder if there's any projections that they're making.
Right. What's the rate of return?
Yeah. I guess what they could say is if houses go up 5% a year, then this is what we can expect, because he said that they get 2.5 times.
Right.
So they only, in the example I gave of $1 million where they give out 200,000, that's 20%, but they get 50% of the equity.
Right.
So that's the
appreciation.
appreciation, and they only participate in 20% of the downside.
That might be one of the most interesting blockchain-based business models I've heard of, because as he shared, Bitcoin has no underlying value. It's just simply a investment on what people think it will be worth based on some scarcity principle, and really not a whole lot more than that. There's no underlying asset, but here he's tokenizing real real estate interests. So again, Quantum RE. Again, I'm sorry we didn't have a chance to get into a little bit more detail, but since we're a program about alternative investment strategies, you should check it out.
Very good.
Yeah.
All right. Now, Mark, I'm kind of curious. Why is the Pacific Private Money Fund? Why did the rate of return go up? I mean, it went up about 20, 30 basis points.
Well, so what Edward's talking about is the Pacific Private Money Fund is a alternative investment opportunity. It's an LLC that you can invest in with your IRA money or any savings for that matter, and we make loans, real estate-backed loans, mortgages in California with that capital, and we earn income based on the rates we charge and the fees we charge, because those fees are shared with the fund as well as the note rate. And we make distributions every month, which is nice. So if you're looking for income that you can rely on, many funds distribute quarterly. In fact, I think maybe most funds do quarterly distributions. We do monthly distributions, and our income investors appreciate that. They like getting that monthly check every month. But what we do is we have a third-party fund administrator who does all the calculations and the accounting on the fund income each month. And really, it depends on the mix of loans that we have. And the new loans going in and the fees we charge and how we share those things. But we've been pretty good at not dropping our rates like many in our industry have over the past year, have been dropping and dropping and dropping. And in fact, we get calls all the time telling people, hey, I got a quote for 8%. Can you beat that? And we just say, no thanks. We like getting 9% or 9.5%. So the rate has trended up a little bit. We were dipping into the mid-7s on our distributions. And when I say mid-7s, the mid-7.5, approximately 7.5% on an annualized basis on our monthly distribution. But this last month, it jumped up a little bit. And actually, other than just because we put a bunch of new loans in there, some of whom had some pretty nice fees in there, it's just kind of random. You can expect. I mean, we're almost halfway through the year now. We haven't done the June distribution yet, of course, but when we do, we'll be halfway through the year, and I'm guessing we'll be on track for an annualized distribution this year, and somewhere in the high 7s.
There you go.
Again, a very, very good rate, and sometimes we distribute more in a month than you'll see in a year in a typical bank savings account or money market account for that matter. So it's for more information, check out our website, pacificprivatemoney.com, or give us a call, 415-883-2150. We'd be happy to send you a prospectus and a tear sheet on our fund and how it's been going. And again, or come to one of our events. We're giving roadshow events throughout the Bay Area, talking about our fund. They're about an hour long, and they're fun. We get up there and we do some jokes and we sing songs. We don't sing songs.
Cool, yeah. Now we just finished the one in Walnut Creek. When's the next one coming up?
July, yet to be announced.
Okay. There's definitely some places in the North Bay that need us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll do it in our Novato in Marin County office, but it's just so hard for people in the Bay Area. Traffic is so cruddy, and we don't have BART going into Marin.
Well,
so
Sunday
it's hard to
Sunday
do.
at midnight. I'm sure people would be glad to come, right?
It's
Will
funny.
you guys show up?
Traffic has gotten worse.
It
I
has.
know we're veering off topic here, but in Marin County, if I want to go, east and I go on Highway 37, and if I don't, if I try to during the week or even on weekends, after 2 o'clock, it's just, stop traffic, and it takes an hour to get through that whole thing, and you can't go north. I tried to go to Santa Rosa on the weekend. It took me an hour to get up there just because it's just traffic trying to get around. It's not even commute traffic. It's just terrible.
We've had investors who don't want to drive from Santa Fe to Novato for.
Yeah. but you had one guy come from San Jose.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, he was on the road for 3 hours to come listen to one of our 6 p.m. Midweek Novato presentations.
Well, I
Spoke to
hope
him
we
this
didn't
week.
disappoint. Oh, you spoke to him?
Yeah,
And
very interested in moving forward.
Good.
So he's doing his due diligence, and he asks a lot of great questions. And
Good.
you know what? We like it when people do their due diligence
Yeah.
and ask some of the harder questions.
What's interesting is that we do these shows, and anywhere from 10 to 30 people will show up. I call them shows. It's presentation, and we have an unusually high capture rate, I think. If you look at all different types of investment opportunities, and I think one of the reasons is because it's just so simple and easy to understand.
It's
There's
not
no
rocket
magic
science.
to it. Yeah.
No cryptocurrency. Okay. All right. No offense to cryptocurrencies, but
Right.
all right. Here's our last trivia question we didn't get to ask last time. We're asking it this time. What airport's 3 initials are MSY? Okay, like San Francisco is SFO and Oakland's OAK, right? What airport's 3 initials are MSY? Call 888-912-1190. Don't touch that dial. The best in investing. We'll be right back with some closing comments. Okay.
Rick shot down the funeral home second.
Good. That's why I sent an email to Kevin because he said, well, those people they decided not to do that house, but they wanted to do something else,
Mhm.
and it was still another house that's even further off the beach, and it's terrible looking, and they went 73% loan to value, and I said, Kevin, I don't think I'll do these kind of deals, I said I don't want to go to bed at night going, gosh, what did I do?
Mhm.
I want to do a loan where it's like, hey, pay me or don't pay me. I don't care.
Rick was saying there's a West Construction second, 535K, but we are in first position. Deal. I don't know.
All right.
This is the last segment, right?
The last segment, 5 minutes.
Do we want to talk about PML at all?
Sure.
Oh,
No?
we could.
We
We don't have anything on there right now,
Yeah,
and
that's
we're
true.
kind of in between.
yeah.
I'm in negotiations with
John?
for him to turn it over to us if I turn over to him the rest of CP Fund. And so we're just gonna
Excellent.
divvy up the assets, and
That would be that. I'm on board for, well, not that you asked me, but if you ask my advice, I think that's
trust
Okay,
me,
let's
everyone's
not talk
on
about
board
it.
with
yeah,
it.
yeah. I would just assume, like you said, separate things. We're 100% him this or 100%
Yeah,
you.
I've got. I know. I told him I wanted to go back to the broker associate relationship and less of this partnership because, I had to tell him this. I had to be blunt with him. I said, like, people don't like working for you. You don't have good people skills. And number one, and number two, you're not entitled to it. You haven't earned it.
Good point.
It's
Wow.
just like you can't just walk in and assume control. It's like, oh, I'm in a partnership with Mark, so now you guys all work for me.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No.
I've
How
got
do you take-
average annual interest rates over the last 30 years.
Oh,
So I just
okay.
wanted to
That's
just do a little bit of a perspective here.
Just really quick.
Yeah.
Curious. How did he take that?
Well, I just saw that he had responded, the
Oh.
first response to, I took all weekend to craft it. It was
Okay.
a long email
Wow,
with
okay.
a lot of,
But
Background
that
color.
feels so comfort to me. That feels so good and comforting because I think you're going to do really well. I can see PML being something really good. And
if he would just let go of it, I would make it simpler.
yeah.
I'd take out half the text because it's too complicated. He
Yeah,
thinks
yeah,
he did this great job. I thought, John, I mean, Lisa thinks it's a terrible site. And
Yeah.
she even compared and contrasted it to Sandy's. And she said, Sandy's is so much easier. I don't know why John went through all this nonsense with the.
Well, sometimes it should try to prove that you're worth a lot, right?
Yeah,
All this
per word,
complicated-
yeah, right.
yeah. All right, here we go, guys. Welcome back to the best of investing. Last time for today, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mark Hoff and Nam Phan of Pacific Private Money. Last trivia question. What airport's three initials are MSY?
Not Mississippi. Is it?
No.
There is an airport in Mississippi.
Mossy?
No. New Orleans.
What?
I know. I don't know. I have no idea
You only knew that
why.
because you flew in.
There you go.
That's an Edward trivia.
That's right. That one was mine all by myself. Yeah, I had an advantage. Mark, you want to talk about interest rates for a minute?
Well, yeah, someone had, I was, scrolling through my LinkedIn feed, and there's this company, Paragon Real Estate, that in the Bay Area that puts together every month some pretty interesting information. And there was a graph that I printed out. It's average annual interest rates over the last 30 years on conforming loans. So 1981 to present. That's actually more than 30 years. But because interest rates are going up, people are wondering, oh my God, it's mortgage layoffs are starting to happen because the mortgage industry
Are
not
they
seeing as
really?
much. There's not as much refinance
Okay.
activity,
Yeah.
so
Right.
mortgage companies are compressing, and people are wondering, what rising interest rates are going to do to real estate prices. But again, for some perspective, as of the end of May, the average 30-year rate was 4.5%. And that is from the historic low over the last 30 years of 3.3%. So we're up a little bit more than the percent. But in 2007, which was at the height of the last real estate cycle, most people won't remember this, but mortgage rates were 6.3% was the average rate in 2007. And in
We got spoiled.
yeah, no,
Right.
and actually in 2006, it was about the same. It was about 6.25%. In 2001, it was 7%.
Well, what we need is another crash in order to bring the interest rates
Don't say
down.
that.
So the whole idea of worrying about 30-year rates, anything under 8% historically is still a pretty reasonable rate of interest to pay for money
True,
to
but
buy
if-
real estate.
But if interest rates jump, let's say tomorrow to 7.75,
So that
a
would
lot
create a
of-
shock in
yeah,
the system,
a lot of
right?
people
But
just can't afford.
here's the thing to remember: if you were to look at any real estate cycle going back 50 years, what happens is that people seem to think intellectually that when interest rates go up, that price appreciation should slow down, or even go the opposite, that real estate prices would decline. But here's the thing: that's never happened in any real estate cycle in the last 50 years.
Why?
When interest rates go up, home prices continue to go up. And why that is
Maybe it's
because
because of inflation.
it brings people out of the woodwork
Oh.
that were on the fence for buying real estate. Once you would think, well, why didn't they buy it when rates
Yeah.
were 3? Because market timing is almost impossible. People aren't ready. People are ready when they're ready.
Yeah.
And as the interest rates start to go up, people start to realize, what, maybe now is the time to get in
Before
on it,
they keep
because
going up.
locking in a 30-year 4.5% rate, if your appreciation is 5% or more, which on average it has been more than that in California, you're still money ahead.
Gotcha. Before we cut out for our thoughts of the day, give out your information one more time.
So we're Pacific Private Money. We're right here in the Bay Area. We're in the 415, and you can reach us at 415-883-2150. And call us anytime with questions about the Pacific Private Money Fund or about our bridge loan program, where we can close very quickly on a real estate transaction, and you can pay us back conventionally at your leisure with no prepayment penalty. We're into alternative investments, and we're into providing fast, reliable financing. If you're a realtor or mortgage broker out there, we can help you make more money by providing a plan B for your clients to help them close that real estate transaction. So that's pacificprivatemoney.com, pacificprivatemoney.com.
All right. And next time, don't take over the whole show, okay? All right. Thoughts for the day.
Give them a break today.
Yeah, I know. Albert Einstein said, if you want to live a happy life, tie it to a goal. not to people or things. I thought that's pretty smart. And speak in such a way that others love to listen to you, and listen in such a way that others love to speak to you. I thought that was pretty profound. Tune in next week to The Best of Investing. We're going to be giving away more free prizes for answering trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm Edward Brown. We're wishing you the best of investing. So long. Good. All right, let me send this off and then.
That Go Girl made you an unstoppable train.
You go, girl.
You go, girl. I told you, it's good. And
Got
it
another
works.
convert.
It was like
Yeah.
liquid crack.
Good crap. That's funny. That's funny.
I should write to them and tell them,
Is
is this like,
couldn't shut him up after he took a couple of sips.
you finished it, didn't you?
I think so.
Yeah, he finished. I was gonna say, like, if he had half a can, I'd go, oh man.
Did you start out with the whole can?
Yeah, I gave him a whole can.
Oh, it's good.
All right, send this to the studio. It feels like a Thursday because we never recorded.
I know. Now I'm gonna be 2 days ahead.
Oh no.
Yeah.